I know a lot of times we want and desire things from people in specific relationships because that's mainly what I talk about on this channel. We want and desire things from people to a point where we put too much expectation on the other person. We put too much expectation in believing that this person will give us everything that we want and desire because that's our person, right? They're supposed to do that for me. But when we get into this mindset, when we get into this mentality, that starts to diminish that other person. That starts to weigh down on that other person because they're trying to live up to your standard of a person that they should be rather than who they are. And people will give you things if that is who they are. They will give you things in a way that you desire. But we shouldn't expect somebody to just drop dead and do everything that we want because we are our own individuals ourselves. We have our own lives to live. And when you put too much energy and effort into expecting someone to always do as you say, you are living in a fantasy life. That is a fantasy world because sometimes this person may not be able to be there the way that you want them to be there. Sometimes they're only able to give you a certain percent of themselves. Sometimes they only can give you 10%. Sometimes they're not there for themselves enough. And they can't give to you. They can't give to you what you want because they are not able to give themselves what they need. You have to give people grace. You have to understand that within partnership and situations and being with somebody, that it's not always 50-50. It's not always 100-100 because 100-100, like, yeah, I get that. That's balancing and reciprocating energy, but there are times where your partner is down. There are times that you have to pick them up because you love them, because you care about them. Being there for your partner, being there for your person is the most important thing that you, in a relationship, actively should do. And if you're not there for that person and you have these feelings that are inside of you that are altered, different, confessing and speaking about these things rather than suppressing them, putting them off. Because people have imaginations that run wild. And if you don't entertain or give them a reason, they will entertain their own thoughts. That's where entertain was coming from. But they will entertain that false reality and make up scenarios in their head that this is the reason why it's happening. Oh, I know for sure I caught them this time. When it's really, it could be fixed in one conversation. One conversation. That's all it takes. People will not know you if you do not speak up. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to advocate what it is that you want from this other person. You have to advocate what it is that you want for yourself. Because you can't get anything. Closed mouths don't get fed. They really don't. So if you don't speak on it, if you don't talk about it, how do you expect this other person to know it? You can't expect anybody to read your mind and to reciprocate everything that it is that you desire without touching bases first. This is about showing people how to love you, showing people how to care for you in the way that you feel seen, telling people that this is what you desire because you are the blueprint to yourself, to loving yourself. This is how this person can help aid you in the ways that you are feeling down in specific situations. That's why whenever people have their love languages and whatnot, if you cater to their needs and cater to the way that they want to be loved, they will feel more seen. It may not be your love language because me, shoot, I promise you, physical touch, I thought it was my thing. It is absolutely not at times. And I'm not to say I'm a touch me not, but sometimes I don't want my proximity, like people in my space. And you have to be okay with that because that's just what that person is going through at the moment. You cannot take it upon yourself to have it be personal. It is not to spite you, I should say. But then that resentment builds up because if you do this, you not have that open communication with another person, they'll start to feel some type of way. And then a lot of times when you don't speak on situations, the resentment builds up and people start to dislike the relationship. They're like, oh, this person is doing this, that, and the third. They're not giving to me as I'm giving to them. I'm wasting my time, wasting my energy, wasting my money. All of these things. And all you had to do was communicate. And if that person isn't talking back, figure out what's wrong. Figure out what's going on. Not in a way if that's overbearing and harping, but when people don't communicate, there's something definitely wrong. Some people may not know how to convey their emotions, and you must give people grace because sometimes people don't have that emotional intelligence the way that you do. Sometimes people are not as vulnerable or as open as you are. If your heart is big, if you have a big heart, if you desire to love people, be there for them. Do that. You don't have to change yourself just because someone else isn't doing the things that you do. It all comes into the self of expense. If you're if you're giving yourself to a caliber that is just not being reciprocated, if you're giving yourself to a degree that you've confronted with this person and they are not changing, they only give you words with no action, then you really see where the relationship lies. So, tearing people down without having communication is where a lot of relationships go wrong. It's a lot of where confusion and doubt and resentment, all of these things build up to a point where they just burst at the seams one day. And then people break up for things that could have been fixed a long time ago, things that could have been better. So, when it comes to relationships and everything, just be honest. Honesty is the best policy. And you may think lying to this person is protecting their feelings. When they find out the truth, when they found out the real reason why certain things happen the way that they do, that will hurt so much deeper than knowing right then and there. Because I believe I know everyone would rather know the truth rather than being happy on a lie. Because once you find out, if you find out, or when you find out eventually, you'll be so much more hurt. There'll be so much more pain. There'll be lack of trust. You'll no longer accept that person because they lied to you, and you find out. Man, that's the worst thing to happen. Is finding out through your own investigation. You don't want that. You don't want that heaviness on you. So just know, relationships are not as hard and complex as people make them out to be. They only choose to do such because they want to live their life. They want to do their own thing the way that they desire. And if people do things the way that they want to, you have to learn to let them go, let them be. Show them allow them to show you what they would rather be doing. And accept that to be okay. Accept that to be your reality. And accepting can take a very long time. I promise you. I promise you it could take months or even a year. But you must accept, you must let go, and you must change. Don't allow this to diminish your heart, diminish the love that you have for other people. Don't allow it to make you scared or fear or have any doubts in the next person because people are not the same. They will not always treat you dirty. Not everyone is alike. So you will find that person, you will have that person, you will have that communication. And with that, self-love is the best love to have. If you can't love yourself, how are you supposed to love somebody else? Keep that in mind and know that love is abundant. Never doubt that.